Indiana, Indiana history is taught, I think, in the 4th grade, I believe. And I went to school here in Fort Wayne in the 4th grade, and in the 5th grade, I moved to Detroit, and went to school there. And I guess in the 5th grade there, they taught Michigan history, and I was confused because the stories were the same, but they were different. They had different emphasis, and it took me until I got into my late 30s to realize about how great Chief Pontiac was, and how his, I guess how he helped, I guess, mentor Chief Little Turtle in the way that he went about organizing the different Indian nations. But that wasn't made clear, way back then. But I want our next speaker, Chief Brian Buchanan, to come up, because he's been so enlightening for me. And as I go out here and try to enlighten others, people think I'm a brain surgeon. And everything that we're talking about is out here in the books. And, there's nothing new. It's just our individual reluctance to open our minds. Chief, please come up, and I don't know how you're moved by what people had to say here, but I would appreciate what you have to add here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Hackley, I'd like to thank you on behalf of the Miami Nation for inviting us here today, and we're very, very honored to be here with the different multicultural groups of people. It's a great learning experience. I know we had some previous discussions up to this point in the last couple of weeks, and I've had some medical issues with my face and sinus cavities, and I actually did some educating myself on the internet and learned some of the problems that I've heard about in the news, but it's really very enlightening to hear firsthand. And I know our hearts go out to those who have come here from other countries, and we're very, very sincere in telling you how much we understand where you're coming from, and the Miami Nation here in our own on our own home, our own country, our own state, still experience somewhat of the atrocities that you have experienced in your previous life and what you're doing now in the future. Eric asked me to come talk today about Kikianga, Fort Wayne. And we could go for the next 2 or 3 weeks talking about Miami Nation and the presence here in the state of Indiana. What a lot of people don't know is this land of Indiana, Ohio, Illinois, Michigan, upper, lower Wisconsin, has all been the Miami Nation territory. It's been the Miami Nation territory for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years. We even have a coming out story, our own biblical explanation of where we believe we came from. It is a verbal story, not written, and that is the elders and the ancestors believe they came from the rivers. And they even have a specific geographical spot that they believe that happened, and that was the mouth of the St. Joe River, right up in up north of South Bend, right there at the Michigan line at Niles, Michigan. So this is hundreds and hundreds of years of passing of cultures. This land and this city is our home, and we've been watching. Our forefathers have watched. Our ancestors have watched nothing but a continuous, as some of my elders say, genocide. Divide and conquer. They still continue to do it here at the States. I feel so very heartfelt for some of the immigrants that come here with their stories, and you can't help but sympathize with your problems. But we wonder, can we fix problems with nations abroad when we can't fix our own problems here at home? And there are peoples here, the Native Americans, that are experiencing their own sense of genocide. We still do. To sit here and watch TV as our fathers sat there and waited for the next warrior to come in with whatever scout news that he had, of what was happening at the village 20, 30 miles down the road, when we're going to leave, how we're going to go, where we're going to go, where we're going to meet. That's what we always face. We face it to this day. I sit in Wabash and I wonder what's the city of Fort Wayne going to do to Kikianga's name? What are they going to do with the rivers here? They're already polluting them. They built this city up on behalf of General Wayne, Fort Wayne. Well, Kikianga comes along. It was one of the biggest trading villages in the Midwest. Little Turtle. You hear a lot about Little Turtle, and probably more so in the last 5 or 10 years than you've heard probably in the last 150 years. I've heard more in the last year and a half how Little Turtle, being one of the greatest American war chiefs of United States history. And I really sincerely believe that, and I'll get into that here just a little bit. Kikianga's been around, I believe, from 1600s, late 1600s, 1700s, very prominent trading post, 10,000, I think. We had some over 10,000 inhabitants here. Miami Village, one of the biggest villages of Native Americans. And it is very prosperous. But I'll tell you what, it wasn't because Little Turtle didn't fight to keep it going. And he became a great war chief for whatever mentors who helped him become to the statute that he finally arrived, with the defeat of General LeBaume in the 1880s, with the defeat of General St. Clair, one of the greatest American defeats of American military ever in the United States of America. Little Turtle has been recorded of killing more human beings in one single day with his bare hands than any other Native American Indian. Why? To save, protect what is his for his people. He had to do what we're doing today in other parts of the world, or running to save your own life. What is the smartest thing? Who are we to judge? We don't know. Then Little Turtle beat Harmer. It was then that the Europeans got a little bit scared, and they decided to task the great Fort Wayne, General Wayne. They sent him up from Cincinnati and strategically built forts all the way up the Ohio line, clear up to Fallen Timbers. And some believe that Fallen Timbers, and I believe it too, being the beginning of the divide and conquer theory for the Miami Nation, and maybe other Native American tribes like the Shawnee and the Delaware who also joined us in that fight in Fallen Timbers. Fallen Timbers was located about southwest of Toledo. And in that war, the Confederacy, the Indian Confederacy was defeated. They retracted and they went to Fort Miami. There, the British closed their doors. What were the Indians to do then? They were to disperse into their own groups, their own native clans. Just because we have a village here and a village here 150 miles away, believe you me, the word did get out that they did come together as a nation. And believe you me, to this day, I have 6,000 Miami members in the Miami Nation of Indiana. 3,000 live in Indiana. The other 3 live abroad. You know what? We all know what we're doing within the tribe. We meet once a week, or once a month, every third Saturday. We have 2 general meetings a year. We have church, which we call our Longhouse, 4 times a year. We teach our kids language, culture, you name it. I mean, the tribe sticks together. And how come? Because of our forefathers, our ancestors, being able to put that love of passion of who we are as a people to keep this going, regardless of what the European influence has been to our people in the past 250 years. General Wayne, he went ahead and defeated Miami and the Confederacy in Fallen Timbers, and he came to Fort Wayne. He took Kikianga, and he built Fort Wayne. What happened to the Miamis? Well, that was the launching of the Treaty of Greenville. I really don't know, and you've got so many different opinions of why Little Turtle even came to the Treaty of Greenville, the Treaty of 1795. I don't know why, but some would say, and I would think, that there comes a time when you can't fight anymore, you're tired of fighting. You just want to save your people. You want to save what you've started in hopes by under God or who it is that you worship, that it will carry on to our children. That's the only thing that we can hope for. And I believe back in those days, that was the same thing that he faced. And that's what happened, the Treaty of Greenville. And that was the beginning of cessation of land to the Europeans, to the United States of America, of the Miami lands. Following the Treaty of Greenville, there was, and we could go on for weeks, several different treaties that followed in the becoming of the state of Indiana. But again, one of the most important things in the Miami Nation was the removal, we call it. And some people have heard the Trail of Tears with the Potawatomis. And that removal was again, divide and conquer, another form of genocide to my own tribe. And what did they do with human beings? They put them on riverboats here in the Wabash River in Peru, and they shipped them out to Kansas to reserve lands. From Kansas, they moved them to Oklahoma and put them on reserve land. They only been there, I think there was approximately 80 or 90 of those people, am I correct on that? Not too many of them were shipped out west, but there was enough to divide and conquer. I mean, there were family section heads that actually had to go out that direction. And to this day, we have family that live in Oklahoma that is a part of the tribe. Now, they're called the Western Miami, the Eastern Miami. Well, guess what? We're all related to the same group of people. The government split us up. We didn't split us up. And that has created our own diversity within our own people to this day. We have people on the Oklahoma rolls that live in this town. They're Miami, and they can't dispute that they are not related to us. We're all related. We all have the same family ties.